We were happy to help because, we have these lions. They were rescued as cubs. They were going to die. So they came into our care. And we use them as ambassadors. But they need to live out their lives here. There's nowhere for them to go.
Yeah.
And so if they can, help research and help Flip's project and contribute to his desert lion research, that's something that, we felt was going to be useful for them.
No, and I mean, we're very appreciative to have the opportunity to fit these collars like that, because it's actually an ideal situation, an ideal environment. I mean, also the benefit is not only on Flip's project, the Desert Lion project side of things, because the collars are actually deployed beyond that. They are actually used by the Ministry of Environment and Tourism on other lions in the whole wildlife conflict management program. So it benefits on a much bigger basis.
Right.
People always ask how the drug is being injected. Basically what we do is we put the drug into the dart. This is the drug chamber. So the drug is in here, then you've got a plunger that basically injects the drug. Behind that there's a little explosion cap, and then there's a weight and a spring. So if the dart hits the animal, the weight comes forward through the spring and it puts pressure on the explosion cap. The little explosion then forcefully injects the drug. The drug is being injected within a split second. It's ready mixed, and we put the drug into 2 darts. So I'm going to load the darts for both lions now. The big males get exactly 1 milliliter each. We've got 2 milliliters in here, and we put 1 milliliter per dart. It's a 1 milliliter dart, and then we're ready to rock and roll.
Take in one piece? Really?
Not quite in one piece, but they will.
Eat it quickly.
Ons ohne Stativ weg.
Now we can pick that. Is there another man here?
Yes, I'm up.
And then Dr. Stander got in contact with Okonjima, with Wayne at Okonjima, and they discussed it, and Wayne said, well, we have the 2 lions here.
Yeah.
Feel free to put them on these 2 lions.
You happy with the colour the way it is? We're going to take a quick photo. So in what way are these collars different from what you previously made?
Okay, the original collars, there were 2 types of collars: a satellite-based collar, which gives you direct access to the position via the satellite network, and another collar which doesn't have the satellite mechanism in it, but it has all the other features: the VHF beep and the GPS position determination, and logging that information on board the collar. The original version of that specific collar was done differently to what we're trying now. The original version had the electronics, the GPS, the VHF transmitter in the top of the collar with the battery at the bottom. Basically because the GPS needs to see sky, needs to see the satellite constellation in the sky to get the position. VHF transmitter, it's connected to an antenna, and the antenna is embedded within the collar itself, so it doesn't matter if it's at the top or the bottom. It's more the GPS issue. And convention in all collars have been GPS sits on the top because that's where the antenna is and it can see the sky. The problem with that is that it's difficult to manufacture. You have 2 parts which are in displaced positions on the collar, 2 epoxy encapsulations which complicate the manufacturing process. And it also causes a problem in the VHF beep signal strength, because the antenna is now, its length is determined by the distance between the electronics at the top and the battery at the bottom.
Because it can only be as long as that. Oh, okay, yeah.
And the longer the antenna, the greater the range that you get. It's just sort of a fundamental factor of a radio signal. So what we tried on this one now is to put all the electronics and the battery and everything at the bottom, which is an easy idea. The problem is then that the GPS is under the animal's head. Yeah. So the GPS has to see the sky through the animal's skull. and the signal from the GPS satellites is reduced, attenuated if you like. So what we're trying with this one is the GPS in the bottom at an angle, sort of facing forward, going through the, if you want to visualize it on a lion's head, trying to get it to face forward through the lion's mouth rather than
So
directly
kind of
up
this
through
way
its
up
skull.
as opposed
Yes.
to...
Yeah, not through the skull, but
Yeah.
through the mouth,
Yeah.
if you like. And we've simulated that using a saline solution in a large water container with a collar around that. The saline solution generally represents the same sort of attenuation to the radio signal that the body, water, body moisture and so on, and bone structure in an animal does. And we tried it with that, and it actually worked very, very well. So we built up 2 of these collars, and we were looking for a way, a place, an animal to fit these collars to that we could actually keep track of the animals, because the collars don't have satellite transmission in them. Should the animal go astray or be killed, whatever the case is, you have no access to the collar, so you can't get that data that was logged on the collar back to see if the collar actually worked the way you expect it to work. So we were looking for a situation where we could find an animal that was easily contained or easily found. An example or a situation that we tried with Dr. Stander was a pride that had some of the older animals in the pride fitted with satellite collars, and the adolescent in the pride we were then going to fit with this
yeah,
collar.
Yeah.
So you could always find the adolescent because
By
the
finding
others
the
had
pride,
satellite
yeah.
trackers on it. And that didn't work out and became complicated, and so we were looking for we eventually got to the situation where we were looking at one of the herders to see if we could fit this thing to a cow somewhere.
Right.
But a cow's head is
Cow's
not
head's
quite
not
the
quite
same.
same shape. It's got a bigger mouth.
We've also tried 2 different quick release or programmed release mechanisms on each of the collar's strap, in the hope that the collars might fall off within 2 or 3 months. We would like perhaps a month or 2 of data from these collars.
Who do you want to wake up?
And we don't really want the collars to sit on them for the next year
Right.
or anything like that.
Yeah.
And so with that we've deployed a logger close by the arena where the lions are in, and that logger will download all the data on a daily basis from the lion collars, and then on our server we can download via satellite that information, so we'll have a day-by-day
Okay.
report.
And will you
on
be able
that
to also get a
situation.
report of the battery? Because one of
Yes.
the issues is, so you will. So you'll be
Yes.
able to then extrapolate to work out how long it would last.
Oh yes.
Because that's one of the issues,
Yeah.
right? Is that because it's going through the mouth,
Yeah.
Yes.
it could take
Yeah.
more
We
battery.
get all that information with each of the data messages that we get from the collar. It's not only position, it's battery, it's how long that GPS fix
GPS
took.
was on for.
Taking, okay,
So
to
we
took.
can do,
We
we get all that
basically
information
calculate.
and do all that
Right,
extrapolation.
yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit about the challenge today? What is there? Was there a challenge today mounting the system or?
No, there wasn't really a challenge with it. It's always a challenge every time you fit a collar to get it done in time, and to disturb the lion the least. When the lion is under the drug like that, it's not that they are completely out of it. I mean, you have to lift the head and the neck slightly to get the collar under, and if you persist and you're not gentle with it, you hear the lion rumble, and he's not going to do anything to you. It's not a dangerous situation, but it's an emotional thing for us. We like to disturb the animal as least
little as
as possible.
The
We've
yeah.
done something different with these collars, as I say, with a mounting mechanism to allow them to drop off a little sooner than, because the collar will typically last, we expect, between 2 and 3 years, but we don't want that collar to sit on the lion for that long, and we had different mechanisms on there to try and get them to drop off within maybe 2 or 3 months, we hope. So that was a bit of a challenge while the lion is under, to try and get that to work, but no, it was very pleasant and very well organized, and it worked very, very
Yeah.
nicely.
They were due for a health check. They haven't had a health check for a little while. and we try to mobilize them once a year in order to do their health check. So we did all that. So we were able to combine it.
Yeah.
And the whole point of the drop-off is that we don't have to dart them again. And that would be another good thing, that we don't disturb them in that sense.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
so yeah, we really appreciated you putting on that drop-off, and we'll see how well that works.
That's going to be interesting as well as the data. It's
Yes.
actually two different things to learn about.
Yeah, and two different systems that you tried, and so we'll see how that goes too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I feel like it all worked out pretty well in the end.
I think it was very successful.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Good information.